Well, hello everyone on YouTube and the world. Today we're going to be doing our video of Sun in the sign of Scorpio in the 8th house for Aries ascendant. And what happens when your Sun is in the sign of Scorpio in the 8th house for Aries ascendant people. And if you do not know where your Sun is placed, what sign it's in, what nakshatra it's in, what pada it's in, all the other planetary placements through sidereal side, for that check out the links here and check out my full astrological report, which also includes my book Astrology, Conjunction and Aspects of the Speed of Light. And also on the second page at the bottom, you will see exactly what sign your planets are placed in, nakshatras, all of those things. So it just makes it a lot easier. Okay, so let's see what this Sun has to say today. So Sun, as you know, in astrology, normal astrology represents our soul, what our internal soul wants, and it becomes kind of like our external personality. So it becomes significant of personality. It represents father, and in a way it kind of represents this. It's a significant of career, because back in the days you only did what your father did. If you're a farmer, you're doing farming. If your dad was a soldier, he was a soldier. If your dad was a minister in the cabinet of the king, you too will become a minister. Kind of like a lawyer, advisor, counselor. If your dad was a teacher, you followed in his footsteps and you taught. However, the dynamics have changed. So I personally don't really consider Sun as a significator of career, because career requires a lot more things than just Sun. However, when we're looking at this Sun in the 8th house, what is the 8th house? 8th house represents transformation. It's death and life, surgeries, sudden events, accidents, because accident is a sudden thing. 8th house represents revolutionizing things, becoming revolutionary. 8th house is a house of mysticism, occult, secrecy. Any kind of practice that takes place in secrecy is the 8th house. So for Aries ascendant people, and the thing is, I've already made a video on what Sun is like in Scorpio and what Sun is like in this 8th house, but this is actually a bit different, because now we're combining the two house energies together, while Sun is also ruling a certain house. And the ascendant also represents a certain link to each house. So as an Aries ascendant, which is a very fiery sign, aggressive sign, it's a very competitive sign. Its legs, which are the 1st, 5th, and 9th house, are represented by the fire signs. So they're always walking on fire. Everything that they deal with is on fire. And Sun for this ascendant rules the 5th house. 5th house represents children. 5th house represents education, creative self-expression. It's your ability to take risks, have fun. So what happens with these people, they're extremely intense, first of all. That intensity is like you're putting a fireball deep beneath in water. What's going to happen is it's going to have a lot of steam come out. So very intense people, they're always on edge. They're always just ready to blow that steam out. Because Scorpio is a water sign. Scorpio is also a fixed sign. So anytime they make a decision related to their 5th house, whether it's education, regarding their children, regarding where they invest their money, what type of subjects they learn, they're always fixed on these beliefs. It's very hard to change the mind of this type of a person. Also, Scorpio is a feminine sign. It is the dark feminine energy. You know, in Western astrology, there's a concept of Black Moon Lilith, where this queen who went into the dark world and then gave birth to 2 sets of twins, and then took over that kingdom. And literally, it's kind of like in India, that Kali Mata energy. That's what the kind of feminine energy Scorpio is. It creates life through destruction. It creates transformation through destruction. So here what happens is, these people usually, first of all, are extremely intense, serious, and a bit cunning when it comes to them winning in competitions. When it comes to them winning in sports, they're willing to go as far as possible, as deep as possible to win. If they have to go a night before and put some butter on the field where the guy is going to be standing the next day, they'll do that. They probably won't admit it, but they'll do it. At the same time, when they have kids, they're very, very intensely, deeply involved with their kids, with their children. They have this tight hold on their children. What are you doing? Where are you going? Who is this person? Let me look at their social security number. Let me do a background check on them. Why are you doing this? So it's a very, very intense, because the thing is, Scorpio is a very passionate sign. It's a sign of obsession, psychological obsession. These people actually kind of become obsessed with their children's lives. They want to control their children's lives from behind the scenes. Being in the dark background, they want to run their children's lives. And this is why these people have the hardest time having cordial relationship with their children. Because children want to have fun, they want to experience life, have many friends, you know, and they just do not want their mom or dad who has this placement be looking through a binocular, by looking and intensely following them. So children, they have it with this kind of a position of a parent. So it's a very karmic position for people who are not able to realize this energy of the sun and what it's doing. And this can also show that a person will probably have children late in life. Like in my own experience, I have seen people, whenever they had sun in the sign of Scorpio or fifth lord in the 8th house, they always seem to always have children between the ages of 32 to 36 for some reason. Like either they have it at 28 to 32 or 32 to 36. Because 8th house is also known as a Marka house. It's a obstacle inflicting house. So what happens is, person has to struggle to wanting to have kids. Whether a guy or girl, doesn't matter. Even if you're a guy, it'll be your sperm that is causing the trouble for a woman to activate her egg. If it's a woman, then it's going to be you who are going to have late conceiving of a child. But the thing is, this placement doesn't deny children, because I can literally have like 20 cases in my software saved where people had children with, you know, this kind of a position of fifth lord of the 8th house, whether it was sun, moon, you know, Jupiter, whoever. But the main thing you have to realize that this comes this dark obsession to control the children's lives. This obsession in some awkward manner can also lead to abusing your children, or you yourself kind of being abused. But mainly this position can really show somebody who can abuse their children physically, mentally, sexually. Because and you got to understand, it really takes a rare combination with the sun for somebody to really go that far. So just because you have sun in the 8th house doesn't mean you're going to do it. You got to understand, your sun, your fifth lord, has to have certain negative aspects. It has to create a certain yoga that activates that kind of type of abuse upon your children. You have to also look at how the sun, your current fifth lord, and the fifth lord is placed in Saptamsha chart. which is a divinal chart in Vedic astrology related to children. But Sun is actually really originally a Karka for children. Even besides Jupiter, Sun becomes a very prominent significant of children, because Sun originally rules the 5th house of children, like we're trying to study right now for Aries ascendant. Also shows your children will be very secretive, very intense like you, and you and your children both will be attracted towards fields of occult, mysticism, things that are buried underground, death. It can show your father must have been in a business related to mortuary, like a mortician, or medical field, or he worked in government taxes. There are many fields related to the 8th house. That's where your father would be making his money. Your father can be in a field related to oil and petroleum, pharmaceuticals, because Scorpio is a sign or karka of chemicals. And the studies that you do, your education, first of all, your education, you'll have a hard time attaining basic education with this unless you have planets influencing your 5th house. Because your interest in education related to research, because remember, basically 5th Lord Sun in the 8th house can represent somebody who will do education in medicine, education in pharmaceuticals, chemicals, mining engineering, can do work related to CSI. But Jupiter and Mercury have to support the 5th and 9th house here. And if they're supporting, or if Jupiter is looking at Sun, Mercury is looking at Sun, then your education is getting the influence of the 8th house. Otherwise, basically what this can do is it can show a person is really not interested in attaining formal education. They want to go on their own and revolutionize something and do their own research, do their own studies. And these people are the most risk takers. They're able to jump in and take a risk. They're not afraid of it. They don't have fear of taking risk after a while. Growing up as a young child, you will have a lot of fear though. You'll be scared of the dark places. Everybody is, but here particularly, you will be attracted to dark places. You'll be afraid of dark places. So what this does, growing up, you become somehow accustomed to the darker side of life, the dark world. But this also, again, the entire chart has to be really seen. But basically what this shows is that the soul really desires to achieve something in relation to the 8th house, which is either to master the education of life and death, occult, mysticism, becoming a secretive person, going towards military, because military really CIA involves a lot of secrecy work related to government, and Sun is a significant of government. So it shows education could take place even if you could go towards a political science where you become a criminal attorney, where you have to deal with looking at blood, looking at murder. Because as an attorney, you have to look at all the pictures and you have to say, look, this is what happens. All of these things. It's just that you'll always be attracted towards the 8th house. Because 5th house, remember, is our divine education. It's the ancient education that we are here to learn, or if we'll learn. Most definitely with this, the person is attracted to attain that darker side of education, usually occult and mysticism. And as I said, this is a fixed sign, fixed feminine sign. So when they have children, they definitely will have a boy, because Sun is a masculine planet and Mars has the co-ruler of the energy related to man and masculine, feminine energy both. But mainly what happens is that even if you have a girl, she's going to have a very intense drive and thirst for power. What this does, in a good way, I guess you can say, your children will be attracted to power. They will want to attain power from being behind the scenes. You will have very intense children, like competitive-wise, education-wise, creativity wise, very intense. Whatever they do, they simply dive deep into it and then they want to conquer it. So it's quite an intense placement, this may not be the most like bed of roses for certain people. For certain people, this is something that they just love. These are the people you will find wanting to understand paranormal activities. If they go into theology, they want to understand, possessions. A lot of things we can see. But what you need to understand also, which we'll cover later on, is what sun is doing at each nakshatra, which is going to be more interesting. Because nakshatra will fine-tune what sun wants to do. Also, if your sun is at between 8 to 12 degrees, that's when sun is very intensified. And your relationship with the father is very troublesome. At least till the 12th degree. From 0 to 12 degree, it'll be very intense. Or from 18 to 27th degree, it'll be very intense. But relationship with the father will just be like you're walking into the darkness. You do not know how you're going to be with him today or how he will be with you today. Every day is being something different between you and your father. Okay? So guys, this was my analysis of sun in the 8th house for Aries ascendant. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. And again, if you want to know where your sun is placed, all my books and consultations and reports for that, check out the links here. Otherwise, we'll see you tomorrow or on Monday. Bye-bye.